Hey guys, Toby Morrison here, and with me today is Heather Tupps, nutritionist, and what would you call yourself?
Holistic nutrition consultant.
Holistic nutritionist consultant. Yes. So we're doing a live Q&A today. We're on both our pages, CFS Health and Toby Morrison Health and Lifestyle. So we'll just wait a moment to make sure that people can get on. We're going to be talking a few different things today. One of them's diet.
If you're wondering which one to view on, if you have an option, what's the above one?
The Toby Morrison Health and Lifestyle.
The Toby Morrison would be better.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's a little bit skewy from the other one. But we're going to be talking about diets and really the non-diet, because you and I have found personally that there is no right diet, but sticking to a food plan that suits you is probably better.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to talk about fats. That was fascinating yesterday, about avocados and the fat, like the good fats that we thought were good fats actually aren't, and a lot of people were surprised about it. Even my friend next door now, she came over, she's like, I can't believe avocados.
Oh, they're not bad for you, but it's just, we praise them as like the superfood where there's so many other really brain boosting fats that are important. Yeah,
and we've got a few questions in from the viewers from my Facebook pages and also from my email list. So thank you for sending your emails in. We won't answer all of them, but we'll answer a few of them. And so this is really for anyone with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, anyone with low energy.
Yeah, and even anxiety and depression and a lot of things that come with the chronic fatigue, which, you know, even just not being able to get out of bed, even if it's, you mentally feel fine. I would still classify that as like kind of the depression, insomnia.
So what you're saying is that nutrition can improve anxiety, your mood,
definitely, sleep, definitely.
That's a key, because without sleep, we're pretty crap.
Yeah, I just read an article the other day talking about the importance of sleep and how your brain, the detoxification period or process that it goes through when you sleep. And so if you're lacking in sleep or not getting into those full REM cycles or just sleeping for little parts of the time, your brain can't fully detoxify and restore itself.
And it's sleep is like the muse for health.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, I was watching we're both the same. I was watching a video yesterday about sleep and, you know, and rest. And like a lot of us, we kind of go, okay, like we're doing all the right things, we're eating well, we're moving well, but we don't actually allow ourselves to rest. Yeah. And what this guy was saying that, you know, rest is a part of the whole program that we don't look at. And I think that, I mean, personally, like I'm learning that even as I'm well now, that rest is just such an important part of the creative process. Yeah. To stay alive, to stay creative, to go, well, what else is it that I can do in my life and add value to, rather than just going 100 miles an hour and never stopping to kind of process things and have realizations and be creative. Yeah.
Well, even one of the emails I think that we were reading through was someone was saying, I push myself too hard. How do I not do that? And I think rest is a huge thing.
Yeah. So we're going to answer. I'll answer some specific questions to do with chronic fatigue syndrome and recovery as well. So feel free to pop your questions below as well in this live chat. We'll do our best to accommodate you. There'll probably be a fair few questions popping up and down. So let's just start with the first question from Penny Starrick, who's in our online program. So thanks for writing in, Penny. I know you're a dedicated person. Penny asked about cholesterol, and she said, like, what's the go with cholesterol? My doctors are telling me that, you know, your cholesterol levels are either too high. Is it really much of a big deal that everybody makes it out to be?
I love that question.
Because the other thing is, like, I know there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Yeah. So from what I've heard. From what I've heard. And so, like, people say, oh, don't eat too many eggs because it's going to give you too much of a high cholesterol, even though we know that eggs can be good for us. Yeah. So what would you say to Penny?
Well, I just want to kind of start out with my story. I was a vegan for a couple of years, and that was during the time I didn't have chronic fatigue syndrome, but looking back, definitely there were adrenal fatigue, just the mild, needing to sleep, take a nap every day, coming home from uni and just wanting to like lay on the couch and watch TV. I didn't have energy for much more.
Okay. So you had lethargy. You were
Yeah.
lethargic all the time.
I
So
was
it's
eating-
very similar.
I was
Yeah.
eating no cholesterol at all.
When you say no cholesterol, what kind of foods hold cholesterol in it?
So a lot of animal products, like you said, eggs, butter, dairy,
Oh, yeah.
cheese,
Yeah.
red meat. Yeah, so I wasn't eating any, and I remember getting blood work done maybe a year and a half into being a vegan, and my doctors came out and they were like, I didn't tell them about the fatigue or anything. I think I was just getting the routine blood work, and they were like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Your cholesterol levels are amazing. They are so low, so good.
Wow.
and
But
I
you were
was-
feeling crappy.
I was feeling so bad, but I remember it kind of gave me one of those things of hope of like, okay, well, my cholesterol levels are great, so I must be doing something right, even though I was feeling totally flat out all the time. And then years later, I started adopting a lot of animal products and high cholesterol foods in my diet. And yeah, a couple of years later, going to the doctor, and she told me I needed to meet with a nutritionist or a dietitian because my cholesterol levels had raised. But I'm like, I feel so great. I mean, I have energy, I have stamina, my brain's functioning, I can sleep properly, I don't have anxiety, I don't feel depressed. So anyway, that's just kind of my story, but
that's exactly what Penny kind of is talking
Yeah.
about through her experience as well, is that whilst on the sheet the cholesterol levels were too high, she probably felt better when she was doing what she was doing, and then when she was told to cut back on cholesterol and take some tablets and stuff, she said she
Yeah.
felt a lot worse. She just said, I'll get the email up here, Penny said, after 8 months my blood tests were in the normal range, but I was so ill and barely functioning. Worst fatigue
Wow.
ever, weakness, chronic memory issues.
that's so interesting.
I'm now 7 months off these drugs, and it's slow recovery back to good health. So,
I
yeah.
proudly say I think statins are terrible.
okay, what statins? Yeah.
They're cholesterol lowering drugs.
Okay.
And I mean, cholesterol, I could talk about cholesterol for like a long time.
Yeah.
But,
keep it short.
Cholesterol is necessary for brain function, essentially, and a lot of the previous science around cholesterol, it says cholesterol is responsible for, heart disease or clogging arteries, but really it's an association, it's not a causation. Cholesterol is a substance that our body creates, so if you're not eating it, your body's going to create it on its own, and it's a repair substance. So yes, it will be associated with clogged arteries, because if there's inflammation going on, your body's going to send that cholesterol to go fix it. It's like a Band-Aid.
Okay.
So just because they're associated and you see cholesterol and heart disease doesn't mean it's the cause. Really, inflammation would be more of the cause. And statins, which lower cholesterol, are linked all over the place to Alzheimer's, memory loss, all of these brain
Okay.
things.
So what would you say? So cholesterol is obviously healthy then, and so we shouldn't worry too much about it.
I do want to say, like, specifically your cholesterol numbers, that would be something to meet with like a nutrition consultant or something about, because there are different levels. There's low density lipoprotein, there's very low density lipoprotein, and you don't want to just say, oh, it's fine, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Good answer.
Yeah.
We've got another one. I think it was from a lady called Lauren yesterday. She wanted to know. Oh, actually, it was Terry. Terry Nichols sent me an email yesterday saying he or she wanted to know. Sorry, Terry, if you're watching, I'm not entirely sure if you're female or male. Maybe female because it ends with the letter I. But Terry wanted to know about prebiotics and probiotics and when to take them, and essentially what do they do for you.
Okay, so probiotics are living microorganisms that are really good for your gut health. They help you break down food, and they actually send signals to your brain. It's a huge part of the communication. It protects against foreign pathogens, sickness, it boosts your immunity. So probiotics are great, and some sources are sauerkraut, kimchi. Have you heard kimchi?
Yep, kimchi. Yep.
It's the Korean kind of sauerkraut. It's a fermented vegetable.
What about yogurt? Like you see in the supermarkets, it always says probiotics and you know, culture.
See, I think if you're gonna do yogurt, I would say make your own, but I'm like
You're a bit extreme.
I'm a bit extreme.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do yogurt, I would go for the ones that are whole yogurt, no
Okay.
sugar added.
Yeah.
Not like some flavor.
Okay.
But yeah, yogurt's good. kefir, water kefir,
Okay.
kombucha. I don't do well with kombucha, but some people do.
Yeah, I tried kombucha and I felt worse.
I get bloated.
Yeah, same.
Because, well, a lot of the ones you buy have sugar in them, and
Okay.
even the ones that I've made, yeah.
This is fascinating. So, like, and I just want to touch on this subject quickly because, like, I've experimented with diets over the years or nutrients, and even healthy stuff could make me feel worse, right?
Yeah,
So it's important to find what works for you,
right, definitely.
and maybe do it in a way that's not, I guess, extreme to the
Yeah.
body.
I found for a long time I would still eat things just because everyone was claiming they're healthy, like kombucha.
Yeah.
I had that for years.
Yeah,
because
I was having kombucha too. I'm
even
just
though
gonna
it
move
did, it
this.
hurt my stomach, I was like, well, there's got to be something wrong with me.
Oh, we're back. There you go.
Do you think it's still going?
Yeah, we're going. We've got 12 viewers here. What were you saying?
Oh.
We were talking about...
Oh, I was just saying kombucha for years. I just was like convinced that it was healthy.
Yeah.
Even though my body, like kind of like you, just didn't respond well to it. And I wish I would have just listened to myself. Same with sweet potatoes.
Sweet
They're
potatoes?
so healthy for so many people, but for me,
They just don't work
makes
for
me
you.
bloated. I don't know, I don't digest them well.
Interesting. So this is even coming from a nutritionist saying that, you know, just because it's healthy, it doesn't mean that you should take it. And we were talking about bread yesterday. And I think I said to you, or you said something about sourdough rye, and I said, cool, so we can all have sourdough rye, and you said, no. Don't shoot me, because if someone has sourdough rye, then they'll blame you for
Yeah,
it.
everyone with really insane celiac, please go eat some sourdough bread.
So, yeah, you know, it's important to take everything, I guess, with a grain of salt. We've got a question here from Jody Kurt Schiller. How are you, brother? Good to see you.
Oh wait, real quick, prebiotics.
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Prebiotics
sorry. Yeah.
help you digest certain bacteria and assimilate the nutrients. So I think a lot of those, like Jerusalem artichokes, onions, leeks, and they are important. I just include them in my daily diet. I don't really have like I take them with probiotics or anything.
Can I just ask, there's supplements for probiotics.
Yes.
So a lot of, you know, you see it on TV, Inner Health Plus, things like that. Why would someone take that, and is it really going to help someone?
I think you could take that if you're doing a specific healing diet.
Yep.
As well as if you're the the traditional diet, you know, a couple hundred years ago, they had fermented foods throughout every day. They would constantly.
They had fermented foods?
Because they didn't have refrigeration, they didn't have, so in
Yeah.
order to preserve vegetables, they would have to lacto ferment them, or in order to preserve yogurt, they didn't have milk, they'd create yogurt. So probiotics were a lot more normal in traditional cultures. So I think probiotic supplements are good, especially if you're not consuming like those foods on a regular basis.
Okay, cool. So it's like an add-on supplementation.
Yeah, and you can switch around your probiotic, which is good. You know.
Yeah.
Do this type and do this type.
I feel we spoke this before the interview. I was just talking to you, and I was asking you, like, with supplements, like a lot of people, I still get hundreds of messages on Facebook. Toby, I'm taking this, or Toby, should I take this? And I kind of don't have an answer for them, so I just don't. It's not my forte. But what I do say personally is, well, if it helps 5 or 10%, then I'd probably take it personally. So, you know, if that's a yes for you, then keep doing it. But if it doesn't make you feel good, if it makes you feel worse, then I'd probably stop taking it. But I feel like, is supplements the answer, or is it just a part of the process?
I think it's definitely part of the process. There are a couple of supplements that I take semi-regular. I'm probably the least habitual person you'll ever meet. I'm just not good with routines.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's alright to take supplements. I think the most important thing is, are they good quality? You know, are you just getting them from Kohl's and it was $5 for this fish oil that's probably been sitting on a counter for 6 months and is stored in you know? So, but I think it is good to just see what works with you. I had a friend who had like I think she tested low for something and her doctor gave her all these supplements and she got really sick.
Yeah, so I've
Really
had similar
sick.
with my clients as well. She went to hospital because of it. Jody asked, what would your definition be for the link between the gut and the brain, or gut and brain health? Like, is there much of a link?
Yeah, definitely.
You were talking about this yesterday with me, about...
I can't move this as well. Everyone's getting a close
yeah, everyone was talking about, you know, the brain and the gut health and how closely interconnected it is. And I personally think it is, because if my gut isn't well,
Yeah.
you know, physiologically and mentally I'm not great,
Right.
but then vice versa. So if I'm like anxious or I'm doing worry or if I'm overly stressed, it like completely like tightens up my gut,
Totally.
and then there's no rest and digest and relaxation.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like to Jodie's question about, you know, the is there much of a link between the gut and the brain?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would explain it. There's quite a few different components that I probably won't go into, but something like, I think I may have mentioned this yesterday, but serotonin is one of our natural feel-good neurotransmitters in our brain. So it signals happy, calm, balanced moods that help you sleep at night. It's just a very balancing chemical that our brain releases. 90% of it is actually created in the digestive tract.
Did you say melatonin?
Serotonin. Serotonin, yeah. And so most people that are on antidepressants take serotonin-targeted antidepressant.
Yeah, serotonin uptake.
Right, and
yes.
You were saying you took those at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I've got lots of, a lot of my friends are on it. A lot of, I think there's more people on it than not on it.
Oh, it is so, I think it's the most prescribed drug from ages like 18 to 44.
In America as well.
So young adults, everyone's just on it and they prescribe it like candy, you know. Not that doctors prescribe candy.
But I think the problem is a lot of the time when we're talking about mental health is that there's a number of factors that go into that, whether it's a death or a job loss or a chronic stress or traumatic things. You know, when you're feeling down and out, most likely the doctor will say, well, I can't cancel you, but I can give you these serotonin uptakes which specifically give you better enhancing mood effects. Yeah. Is that what its goal is?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, we're getting so many questions here, like we can't keep up with them, but keep posting them. We haven't even been looking in here, but we'll get back to probiotics in a second.
We're all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, gut health's super important for your brain, basically. If your digestive system is in order, your brain can properly signal the serotonin, those happy, feel-good neurotransmitters. Yeah. If it's all out of whack, there's just, the signaling isn't going to be.
Do you know what? I remember, I'm having a flashback now. I was 19, I was working as a fitness instructor with a huge corporation of kids. We'd have 500 kids a day come through. And I literally, like, the only thing that got me through was like chocolate every hour. Like I was just like Smarties, chocolate, Snickers, whatever was in the kids' little surprise packs. And me and the trainers used to eat them non-stop. We were fit and healthy guys, right? But I remember like 2 months into it, I was just running on empty and I was like, I need to change my diet. Yeah. And so I stopped eating that crap and I started bringing in pre-prepared meals and it made such a big difference. Yeah. Like I was healthy, strong. I got through my, 9-hour shift of coaching and it was fine. Yeah. But I remember I was like shoving. Can we talk about? Yeah, because people do that, right? Like when they're low on energy, they just go for the quickest thing. Yeah. So like, and is that kind of like what happens? Like we have low blood sugar levels, so then we go, okay, I need more sugar. Right. Like how does that work? Because I think a lot of people out there, when they're feeling crap, they eat crap. Oh yeah. When they need to actually do the opposite. There's so much, especially with sugar, with the blood sugar imbalances, it just leaves you craving more. The more you eat, the more you crave. And same with serotonin. If you're serotonin deficient, you'll crave carbs, refined carbs like the sugars and the pastries and whatnot, and then it'll leave you craving more. It's just that it'll deplete your serotonin more. So there's definitely, it's kind of like breaking a cycle when you stop. But a lot of people notice immediate effects, and I think someone asked yesterday about the GAPS, or 2 days ago. Yeah, GAPS diet. The GAPS diet, and I think that's an amazing resource. It's the woman who created it, she healed her son of autism, and that's obviously there's some sort of brain function problem going on there. So if you can heal autism through diet, and many people have, you can definitely heal other things through healing the gut. Okay, Meg Savage just commented, any remedies that you recommend to help the gut with serotonin production? Ooh, I mean, I don't want to say this for everyone. This is kind of something where I wouldn't be like, oh, everyone listening, just go out and buy this. Yes. But 5-HTP or tryptophan, coming from a good source, is the specific amino acid that your body needs to produce serotonin. So, and that's what I gave you the other day. You were talking to me about that. What about, and eating heaps of protein. I was just going to say, what about just foods? Like for protein. People, because I forget what I just said, because you don't want to mess yourself up. Well, no, but also, it's like, you if you're interested in like actually getting individual help and maybe getting some of that kind of stuff prescribed, then you can book in a session with Heather personally.
Because some people that are low in certain nutrients, if you take serotonin supplements or SSRIs, those drugs, it can actually create homicidal behaviors. And so that's why I'm like, oh, don't everyone just go get this thing.
That's right.
You want to know.
Yeah. And so like, but even just changing your intake from carbohydrates, crappy carbohydrates to good protein source, you'll feel a lot more sustainable energy throughout the day.
And like, I always think, I don't really ever see depressed bodybuilders, or people that love to work out. They're all happy because they're eating tons of protein and getting those endorphins. So protein is really helpful for producing serotonin.
Yeah. Now we've got a good question from Tani. Tani writes, "Hey guys, I've been majorly housebound for the past year. On top of the nausea, dizziness, fatigue since I crashed, I cannot eat any foods that contain a form of sugar, gluten, or carbs without feeling like death and getting crazy brain fog. This includes natural sugar like fruit. My whole diet consists of 5 foods and I have lost about 10 kilos. We're going to talk about diet, but we're also going to talk about physical conditioning on this topic because this is something that I see a lot with my clients. Do you have any clients with a similar thing?" Well, there you go, I do. "Or know of any foods that can help with digestion? I've had a lot of testing done and my stomach is inflamed, but they don't know the reason and I'm not celiac. I had a similar thing when I crashed in 2011 when I returned to semi-health. I could eat normal again. Sorry for the novel." That's not a novel, that's a really good piece.
Bone broth.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you my take and Heather will give you hers. You go first.
Oh, I was just going to say bone broth is great for digestion and how, aside from probiotics, the gelatin in it and all the amino acids, the minerals are really soothing to your whole digestive tract. It's almost like, it's like a jelly consistency, and it soothes the mucosal membrane in your digestive tract.
Yeah, so one of the things that I've noticed as well, I've been having bone broth personally, and I love it. I think it's great. I think it's just good for anybody because it's really just a food source, but it's a solid food source without it being harsh on the digestive system.
Yeah.
So Tani, because you're struggling a lot, and if you've got low energy, bone broth is awesome because you're getting good energy and without it, you're having to digest it and deconstruct the food to then digest it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like a soup really. So it's easy to make, it's cheap, it's easy to pre-prepare, so you can have it for 7 days straight.
You can make a ton, freeze it.
Yeah, you can freeze it. But what I'm looking at here is, yes, the food stuff is going to be important, but if you're limited to what you can do on a nutritional basis, what I would look at is getting into a routine and structure that's going to enhance your sleep, enhance your mood, enhance your stability, and then also give you the structure and routine to start physically doing stuff to rebuild and recondition your body, because a lot of what you've lost in terms of your kilos, and I know, I think I've seen a photo of you before, you're actually a skinny, quite a lean person anyway, you've probably lost a lot of muscle for deconditioning, okay? Because if you're not doing much, and because energetically you can't, that's a really common sign. So what I would suggest is find a restorative movement plan, and I'd get one personally made for you if you're really struggling to get out and do anything. It might start with 1 minute a day, it might start with 2 minutes a day, it might start with 5, just depending on where you're at. But you need to restore some strength and stamina in your body so you can start building again. And as you start to do that, I'm sure your body will start to go, I need more protein, I need more food to fuel me, And sometimes it works in that cycle first before you start loading yourself up with all these nutritional things where your body just can't absorb it. I've found that within myself, I've found that within a hell of a lot of clients. Once they get the ball rolling, then naturally your body's going to start craving more and digesting and assimilating it better.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And the other thing is as well, and I think this is really relevant to a lot of people, not just the question that Tani wrote in, but if you've got a huge ton of stress, mentally, emotionally, if you're always worrying, if you're always thinking about the past or worrying about the future, that has a huge complication with the gut. And I think it's really important to help yourself with emotional and mental well-being. I think everybody needs that. I don't think it's just a one-size-fits-all, regardless of your situation and circumstance. Because we know that if I said to you, okay, think about a really bad time in your life, the first reaction that you would have it would usually be within your gut.
Yeah.
Right? So, like it feels really bad. And when we have that reaction, that actually cuts off the digestion process. There's no rest and digest. There's no relaxation in there. If I asked you to think about a really great time in your life, a really relaxing time, I'm sure something would come to you and you'd feel really light and easy and relaxed. So there's a huge relation with that too. So this is why within my program, what I teach is having a holistic approach, a holistic plan to cover nutrition, to cover sleep, to cover progressive exercise, restorative movement, rest and relaxation. Mm-hmm. It's important to look at all of it. So I hope that helps.
I think that's what I liked about my program that I did for university is holistic nutrition. It's not just nutrition. They're constantly like, work with a chiropractor, work with, people who do body movement, whether it's yoga instructors.
So
it very much is all those things together.
Yeah, and specifically for people with chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, because this is what most people, jump on this page for. Yes, it is important to have a holistic approach, and no, not everyone gets the same treatment plan. It's not one size fits all. But what the question you need to ask yourself is, what's my biggest problem right now? What's holding me back the most? What do I need to start doing to move forwards? They're the three key questions, and you'll be able to figure that out. Like if you've got huge gut problems and you're mentally, emotionally a bit unstable, they're the two priorities that I'd be working on right now. If sleep's not great or you're waking up all the time, nutrition and movement's good, but maybe go see a sleep doctor or a sleep specialist who can help you with that. It's really important to kind of go, what's the problem and what's the solution? Yeah, all right, we've got so many questions.
It's so fun.
Sarah Therese Cartwright says, stress also depletes stomach acid, making it hard to digest foods. I don't know whether that's true or not.
Yeah, well, it does. Yeah. Because you're not kind of like what you said, you're in the sympathetic mode, not the digesting parasympathetic mode.
So keep the questions coming, guys. This is awesome. Let's talk about coffee.
Oh, I knew it.
So this is quite funny. So Heather actually, in the past, has been working as a barista at the local coffee shop that I go to, which is across my road, ironically. And we got talking. How we met was actually, she said hi, and I said, oh, you're from America. And we got talking. And sure enough, you're a holistic nutritionist as well, and you've got a great website. And, we've spoken probably for the last 2 months and definitely related to each other and gone, you know what you do is awesome. I love it. I want you to help other people. But the funny thing is, you don't drink coffee.
No, it's like my past 2 jobs, because I keep traveling.
Yeah, so you're obviously from, exactly.
You just get a coffee making job for a little. Yeah, it's funny because I remember his friend was like, this is such a good espresso, this is so good. You must drink heaps. I was like, I don't drink coffee at all. But,
so, I'm off coffee at the moment, probably because half of you have told me that, Tobes, you've got to stop drinking it. And I've gone through phases where, especially throughout CFS and chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, even in my programs, I say get off stimulants because it's fake energy.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit different when you're a bit healthier, but even you, you're a healthy human being and you don't have it. So I think there's a time and a place for whatever you choose to do, but you seem to know your body really well, therefore you choose not to take it.
Yeah.
What does it do for you if you have coffee?
Oh, I just feel jittery and I don't sleep as well. I used to drink coffee when I lived in England, worked at a coffee shop, and I would have maybe 1, maybe 2 a day because we work all day and then we'd want to go surfing. Yeah. But, and I never have had a problem sleeping, but I remember once I cut out coffee thinking, I thought I slept good before. I sleep incredible now. Yeah. Just the difference was drastic. And I used to kind of crave it, in university, years ago, feeling like, not necessarily that I needed to run in the morning, but around 3 o'clock I would just be so tired. And so I probably have 2 green teas a day, which do have quite a bit of caffeine, and I justified it because it's healthy and it has antioxidants, but really it is a stimulant and it keeps you needing more.
So you don't have green tea? Interesting. This is the thing.
Rooibos tea.
Yeah, cool. Tiny wrote back, thank you so much, guys. I'll be on to it. Yeah, and Tiny, if you need help, and if anyone who's listening needs help, whether it's with nutrition or your movement or your sleep or your routine and structure, send me an email at toby@cfshealth.com, and you can either book in a session with Heather or you can, join the online recovery program. But it's important to get the right help at the right time and the right guidance.
Yeah.
That's what we're buying all the time is perspective, other people's perspective. That's why you and I buy each other's time to talk about and go, try this, maybe this will help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just interesting. So here we go. And Grace, I have found coffee doesn't give me any lift at all. My fatigue is the same. That's interesting. Maybe she's just so overly tired that it's just not. Why would that be?
Yeah, well, our adrenal glands, I think adrenal fatigue and chronic fatigue are pretty closely related. Probably one in, body versus just the mental state. But our adrenals are little glands that sit above our kidneys, and they release cortisol and adrenaline and all these hormones that give us that lift. And naturally through the day, it starts off, and then the amount that it secretes lowers and lowers and lowers. When you're giving yourself coffee or caffeine or stimulants, it's constantly secreting that more than natural. And in time, which I think is probably happens to a lot of chronic, like how you were go, 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 and then all of a sudden it was a crash.
Yes.
With your chronic fatigue.
Yes.
During it, I think that's it. It's like constantly living off stimulants or poor diet, or even just you can secrete adrenaline when you're just like in that go-go state of I gotta do this, I'm doing this. So, oh man, I already forgot the question.
No. So, I mean, you hit it
But
on
that would
the
make
head.
sense.
It makes sense.
Your adrenal glands just don't.
They're not producing any more
Yeah.
cortisol and adrenaline.
Or it's just not affecting your brain any longer. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
to avoid it then, definitely.
Yeah, I think the thing that I don't really like about coffee is that it's a fake. It's fake energy. So, like I said, if you're a healthy human being, which is you'll see thousands of people drink coffee every day and get away with it. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Even within myself over the past 7, 8, 9, 10 years, I've had coffee, lots of coffee sometimes, and absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just choosing not to have it at the moment because I just know that I want to have that real raw energy feeling
Yeah.
versus this quick high and spike and then low. And my training's changed at the moment as well. We've got heaps of questions. This is really good. What makes Rue Boys, however you spell it, so good? Question mark. It's funny. We're drinking it right now. Heather, I said, Heather, what tea do you want before we start? And she said, I'll have is it Rooibos?
I don't know how to say it. Rooibos.
Rooibos.
I used to call it Rubios, but that's definitely wrong.
Interesting. Okay.
I actually don't know. I just really like it, and it's a herbal tea. And
But it's not
organic.
caffeinated.
It doesn't have caffeine.
That's why.
It kind of tastes like a black tea.
It tastes like there is
It's like
caffeine in there.
more
I
of a
feel like
cold
there's caffeine.
flavor.
It gives me a bit of energy.
Maybe you're just energized because we're doing a video.
Maybe I'm energized, yeah.
But yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good at the moment.
I just like it. It doesn't, chamomile. I like that, but that'll put you to sleep. Or for me, it does at least. I get tired.
If you're feeling like you need to wake up and you need a coffee straight away, that's an indication that you probably should get off it.
Yeah.
I was talking to my next door neighbour today. She's like, I'm going to go get a coffee. Love you, Joe. And she was like, I'm just going to have a couple of days off because, I just need it. But when that happens, she'll get a headache or, she'll kind of just not be up and about.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay. Just imagine a circle and there's work, rest, play, and activities, right? And you might have the three triangles, but you're not looking at the triangle of rest. And I think a lot of people do that. And I wouldn't say rest is just sleep.
Yeah. Mental rest too.
Mental rest, relaxation, going inward. A lot of our life is very externalized.
Yeah.
I can speak for myself because that's what I've done for a long time. And I'm just learning to internalize stuff now, which is actually quite good. It's healthy to slow down, to get some introspect rather than outrospect, always kind of being out there and not in here.
Right.
I think it's Carl Jung, the famous philosopher and psychologist, said that in order to know ourselves, we must be by ourselves and find individualism. Pretty interesting.
I like that because a couple weeks ago, my parents were here, and I was working, but also meeting up with them, and we weren't doing anything particularly stressful or energizing. It was like going to the beach, going surfing, hanging out. But I did feel really tired because I just wasn't having that alone, reflective time.
Yeah.
Even if we weren't doing anything, you know.
Yeah, and this is what
I
I
think that's wise.
it's really important. Like, you know, without rest, there is no play. Do you know what I mean? And so for you guys out there, and it's especially for people who are kind of, it doesn't really matter whether you're at a really like 1 out of 10 health or a 9 out of 10. It is important to stop and slow down. I think there's some heroic kind of, you know, mentality about pushing through all the time, but it's actually not healthy at all, and it's a form of weakness because you can't actually sit still with yourself. So if you're struggling with that, you know, just find a little bit of rest. It doesn't mean you have to sit still and do nothing. It might mean painting. I've got in the back here in my office, I've actually got some canvases ready to go. I suck at painting, but if I put the music on and I just paint and just flush around for like an hour,
Feel good.
I feel amazing.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I just did nothing, but I achieved everything, if that makes sense. And a lot of people with chronic fatigue syndrome, as you'll learn, are high achievers. They're overdoers. They're people who want to get the most out of themselves. So if you've got that mentality, switch it around and go, what's the most I can put into myself? Okay? Rather than keep going, okay, what can I get out of myself? How can I do this? What should I do this? Maybe it's time just to go, what can I put into myself? And that's a huge difference when you ask that question. We've got a question. Viveka Marie Marks Joe. Eslov. That's like 4 names in one. Rooibos tea tastes great, but I add milk to it. Does that defeat the purpose? Question mark.
I don't think so.
No?
I mean, the purpose for me is having a drink that tastes nice. And so if you like milk, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say so. If you can digest milk and it works for you.
If you can digest it. I was just thinking before...
If you put sugar in it, on the other hand...
Get rid of sugar. It's really not that hard, though.
No.
A lot of this stuff. Like...
It's just a journey, too. Like, I was doing health stuff for like 5 years before I cut out caffeine.
Yeah, so there you go. Like,
small steps.
You know, and, you know, even you the other day about having a cookie.
Yeah, I had a cookie the other day.
Oh my god. How bad of you.
Lived.
No, you did, exactly. And it's not about being dogmatic and being super restrictive. I found a lot of people go, you should be a vegetarian, you should be vegan, you should eat only meat.
Only meat.
And I found that like there is no right diet, and I think if you're very dogmatic in that approach, it can be more harmful than good. Now, obviously, you do diets, specifically vegetarian and veganism, for other purposes, but at the same time, if it's costing you with your own health, it's probably not helping the planet anyway. And you know, I think that personally, like when people go, "What do you eat?" I go, "I eat vegan once a day. I'm vegetarian once a day. I'm a meat eater sometimes. Sometimes I don't eat any meat. But what I do is listen to my body."
Totally.
And so it's really about being intuitive and going, okay, well, do I actually need heavy meats or proteins right now, or do I just need something light because I'm already feeling quite heavy? And that really works well for me.
Yeah, I agree.
What would you say to the people who are a bit
I would just say,
constrained?
like, don't make it your identity, you know?
Nice.
I think that can be really restricting, and it's just not you as well, like...
But I'm a lettuce eater. That's who I am as a person.
I used to find so much identity looking back. I didn't think I did at the time, but vegan or raw vegan or
yeah, because you were, but you used to eat vegan, right?
Yeah, for 2 years I was vegan.
Wow.
And I like.
And were you sick?
That was a long time ago, but
that
was when I had like depression and fatigue.
That's when you
so
were
it just
depressed.
didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't give it up for so long because things like the doctors telling me I had the best cholesterol numbers. It gave me that pride to keep going. But now, and we talked about the other day, it's like the more I restrict myself, the more if I'm like, I'm paleo today, then all I want is bread.
Yes. Yeah. And I think if you have more choice, you'll make better choices.
Yeah.
You know, if mum and dad tell you not to drink, not to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, what do you want the most? You want to go and do it.
Get drunk with your boyfriend.
Absolutely. Alright, and so that's a whole other topic though. Now, I want to ask a question that we got from Andy Donnelly, one of my dear friends, family friends, yesterday. She asked, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, what are the substitutes for, obviously, meat, fish, dairy, because a lot of these people can't have it. Now, I know there's obviously not going to be like, one thing, but if people are really wanting to stay with that and it works for them, but we're saying, add more of this in, what could they improve on, or what could they add into their nutrition that might help them a bit with their health?
Yeah, if you really believe it's working for you, then, I would just say things, because we talked a bit about protein, and I think, did the question have to do with anxiety?
Oh, she said, a lot of people, if you've got bad anxiety and depression, that you can't eat meat, fish, or dairy, what do you eat regarding gut health?
I just want to throw this in there. I would reconsider if you have anxiety, if that's the best diet for you. But if you're gonna stick with it, that's obviously totally fine. I would just say stay away from the high fruit meals. Doing more nuts and seeds and beans and legumes, not massive bowls of fruit and like the what do you call it, acai bowls?
Acai bowls.
Yeah.
So you're just saying.
Because the blood sugar will be really bad and it'll perpetuate anxiety even more.
So this is in my online program. For all the members in there, they already know this, but in nutrition, there's low GI foods and there's high GI foods. So low GI foods is low glycemic index, which practically means that when the nutrition that you eat from that food, if it's a low GI food, it gets released slower into the blood system or bloodstream, and the energy is distributed on a slower process. Versus if I have a Mars bar right now and a can of Coke, I'm going to be like, woo! And then like a minute down, I'm going to be like, ugh!
And you want another one?
And so, and that's a high GI food, which is like, sugar, chocolate, anything like that. So there's nothing wrong with either or at the appropriate times. I feel like for sports people, if you're exercising a lot, having a high GI carbohydrate after training is a good recovery source.
Yeah, and if you're craving it and you're needing
sugar. Yeah.
I hear tons of athletes who do the whole paleo low carb thing, and they do great for 2 months, and then all of a sudden they have no energy.
They burn out.
That's definitely like athletes really have to listen to their body.
Yeah.
Because they'll tend to crave protein. Hey.
Yeah.
You would know.
Yeah, exactly. I got a question from Viveka again, Marie. I'm not going to say your entire name because I can't pronounce it, but do you have any advice for people with fibromyalgia? So I'll give you my spiel, and then Heather can touch on this with the nutrition stuff. But practically, fibromyalgia is inflammation of the body due to stress, really, from my understanding. And that's not psychological, emotional, mental stress. It's physical stress too. So it's a very real problem that people have in the world. Not dismissing that at all. And it's a chronic pain condition, so it's something that's a long-term thing. So there's two angles that you need to go from with this, and this is what I teach in my online recovery program, is definitely the physical side of recovery, which is quality sleep, quality nutrition, quality restorative movement, and progressive exercise in that appropriate way. That's why I always say that last. So they're the four key components on the physical realm. So stuff that we can control on a day-to-day basis, and Heather, you can touch on the nutrition. But then there's the mental, emotional stuff. And if we're reproducing a stress response, or we're reproducing a chronic pain response, and we're constantly looking for pain, then it becomes a pattern in an automated pattern in our brain training system. So the brain perceives a threat, which is pain, and then it constantly looks for it. So I have this with a lot of my clients when they don't have pain. The first thing is, where's the pain? That's what they're looking for. They don't go, oh, this is nice. They just go, where is it?
They're just anticipating it.
Yeah. So when you constantly anticipate pain, it's just reproducing the same physiological responses. Just like I said before, if I ask you to tell me a time when you were feeling really peaceful and relaxed and happy and calm, and we spoke about that, and I got you to think about it right now, I bet you physiologically, as I'm talking, you're feeling a lot more calmer and relaxed. But if I asked you, hey, tell me where your pain is, and even say the word pain 10 times, and physiologically you'll feel a bit more of a physiological response to that way. It's proven. There was a really cool article written or research paper. Pain specialist got 10 patients with really severe pain to come into the office, and what they had to do, they put them up and measured them with electrodes all over their body, and the patients had to say pain, pain, pain over and over for an hour. As the hour progressed, their pain response got higher and higher and higher, like physiologically, just from saying the word. Crazy, isn't it? But we all know that. Like when we meet a negative person down the street, someone who's got it. I wouldn't say a negative person because I think we're all negative and positive. But I think when they're in a negative state, it can really drown you down. Like I'm sure you deal with people every day at the coffee store. I bet you some people lift you up, and other people, when they come in, you go, oh no.
They start talking to me about Obama and Trump because I'm American, and I'm just like,
yeah, let's not talk about that. But you feel
but it brings me down. Is what I'm saying.
It brings you down, right? So, so the words that you speak to yourself, the language that you talk yourself into, retraining your brain in that context is really good. I've got a program on that which is called the Mindset Mastery Program. It's a short course program. We've got about 200 people doing it at the moment, and a lot of people have seen some fantastic changes physiologically and mentally, emotionally. But also just restorative movement is a key component to improving your muscular recovery and also strength and stamina. I went to America 2 years ago for the CFS Fibro Conference, which is all the best specialists in the world. The best thing that came from that conference was that restorative movement was the most profound impact on ME, CFS patients and fibromyalgia patients in terms of recovery. Now, there's a whole there's a debate about exercise and stuff with chronic illness. You can go to my YouTube channel to see those 2 videos that I've done about graded exercise therapy and restorative movement. If you just type in my name on YouTube, Toby Morrison, that will pop up. But it's all about appropriateness. And I think that's the same with nutrition. I think whether it's with your sleep, with your routine, with your structure, with your workload, with your social life, with your physical activities, with your just play activities day to day, it's all about appropriateness. Is this appropriate for me right now? And is this sustainable? Sorry, I got a little bit passionate.
No, that's really good. And just hearing you talk about the whole, like, kind of what you believe about yourself, or the pain study, pain,
yes.
start feeling pain. I'm like, I wish I would have listened to that when I first heard it years ago. Because for me, it was like, oh, that's hippie. There's no, like, scientific backing.
Yeah.
So it's just all, like, what you believe about yourself, you become. But there really is good scientific evidence for that, epigenetics and what...
Epigenetics and,
whatnot.
Bruce Lipton. Yeah, keep going.
What was I supposed to say? Anything?
Just with nutrition, I mean, what you covered on before, bone broths.
Yeah, gut health again.
Gut health.
Fibromyalgia,
Yeah, for fibromyalgia. So I think for anyone with any issue, nutrition is not going to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Eating well. I want to touch on one more topic on nutrition in a second. Sarah Therese Cartwright says, with movement, can it be as simple as starting with 5 minutes of stretches daily and then building from there? Sarah, it can be as simple as starting with waking up and sitting out of bed for 1 minute a day. For some people, that's a realistic approach. For other people, it might mean doing some more restorative stuff like breathing exercises using your hands. They call it Qigong or Tai Chi. They could be doing a form of restorative yoga. It can be simple as reconditioning exercises. And this is what I started teaching when I first started this stuff, is literally arm raises without any weight. If you're that deconditioned, doing 10 of them a day, spaced out over a few hours, is absolutely fine. It might mean literally just doing quad raises, where you're just literally lifting your legs up and just seeing if you can do a few of them a day. The only way you're going to recondition your body is by reconditioning your body. No one can do it for you. Now, it doesn't mean you push past your threshold. Typically what I say with patients is to do 50% less than they think they can do or should do. And that's a good place to start because it's very safe and effective. And the last point about exercise, even though this webinar wasn't about exercise, is to come from a place of a non-arousal. So you have nothing to fear, you don't have to push yourself, you don't have to exert yourself. We're not releasing huge amounts of stress or hormones and cortisol. and we're just coming from a grounded approach.
A grounded approach. So catchy.
Before we finish, if you have any more questions, please comment them in. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. Thanks for sending questions. I like it.
Yeah. Heather's actually going to offer some nutritional coaching sessions at the end of this as well, so we can just organise that for you. I was just going to talk about emotional eating.
Oh, okay.
I just feel like a lot of people do that. Like stress eating and also unstable eating in the sense that like they feel like if they don't eat in the next 10 minutes they're going to get sick or like overeating. Like, but for a good reason. They go, oh my god, if I don't stuff myself with food I'm not going to have energy. But the problem with that is that if they overeat, digestively they're not processing all the food. So it's almost like, you know, it's something that I've learnt within myself because I used to try and gain weight and have more muscles and look like a bit of a bodybuilder. And, you know, and so I used to stuff myself with food all the time, but I'd be more exhausted and I just wouldn't break down the food that well.
Yeah.
And I'd go to the toilet a lot.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So what's your kind of thought on that?
I mean, I think we are emotional beings, and traditionally eating wasn't emotional in a way, you know. If you look at French cultures or Swiss or Spanish, they go out and they eat for a few hours and they enjoy it and they're with good company. And I think that is how we're meant to experience that emotional eating and satisfy that, you know. Like, I don't like eating by myself. I love it eating with someone else where you can have good company and there's music on and maybe a candle or something.
Yeah.
And then you're in that rest and digest phase and you're actually assimilating everything. But I think we've swung so the opposite way, and I'm talking Australia, America, probably the UK, and we were like, fast food, get your smoothie and run and drink your coffee while you're walking on that kind of approach, I think because we're missing out on the other things, we're supplementing it with overeating, emotional eating.
Yeah, 100%. We spoke about this yesterday, actually. Eating in a rest and digest state is just so important.
So important.
I remember I was getting really tired and I was overworked. I was working ridiculous hours and I was eating every hour just to keep getting more food in because I thought I needed it. And I called one of my mentors and I said, hey, like, what should I do? And he goes, sit down for an hour and eat properly. And but at the time I was like, I can't. Like, you don't understand, I have to keep working. And now I get it. Yeah. But like, it took me years to understand it.
Me too. I'm like, if you don't believe me, please do, because honestly, I thought that was hippie stuff. Oh, you sit down and enjoy your food and mindful eating. I was just like, whatever. It's all about quality. But it really, really is important. So just try it at least. Try it for a week at least.
Yeah.
I think that will solve the emotional eating problem.
Yeah, just being still and calming down. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that'll do. I've actually got to go to my Pilates class now, and you're probably going to do some stuff too.
Gonna go get a smoothie with a friend.
Cool. So what we're going to do, guys? Heather's pretty much our CFS health nutritionist. So she does online Skype consults.
Yes.
And what can people expect from you if they had to book in a session with you?
So I do a whole metabolic questionnaire, kind of how you digest, family history, what you ate growing up, that whole thing. It's quite a long questionnaire. It takes a while because I just want to know everything about you. I don't want to just throw you into some paleo this, that. And then we do the mood questionnaire, hypoglycemia questionnaire. The mood questionnaire is really good because it's anxiety, depression kind of focused, which a lot of that is similar to goes hand in hand with chronic fatigue.
Secondary responses.
Yeah, so then I create an individual meal plan for you, and usually it depends where you're at. Some people want to take off running and change everything in their cabinet that day, but a lot of people it's like, okay, well, what can you commit to doing this week? Maybe it's cutting out sugar, maybe it's doing bone broth. So a lot of it is the encouragement, walk you through. And then I send your meal plans and what we discuss.
Will you be able to help people if they want to learn how to cook a bone broth or something like that?
Oh yeah. I'll send links for all that.
Cool. So
it's on my blog too.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're interested to book in a session, just send me an email at toby@cfshealth.com, or just send a PM in this page, either on the CFS Health page or the Toby Morrison Health and Lifestyle page. If you book in this week, you will also get my free book, which is Toby Morrison, CFS Health, A Guide to Recovery, and also a cookbook as well. So sessions.
You get to see Toby in an apron cooking.
You do,
food.
yeah. You saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
So sessions are $120.
Yes.
But like I said, you'll also get given the ebook and the cookbook, which is valued about $30 as well. So you're getting a bit of an extra giveaway there if you're interested. So let's just say there's 5 spots for this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds good.
So send a PM if you want to get a nutritional plan. I actually got one yesterday. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
I felt really good actually when you gave me some extra things to eat.
For energy.
I felt really good yesterday. Like I was
Awesome.
like holy shit! I went for a surf and then I did some weights in my garage. And yeah, I don't know. Just those little tiny tweaks can help a lot. So I'm super passionate about it. Like I said, it's just one piece to the puzzle. Don't discard any other area of your life. I still think that it's important to still focus on your routine, your structure, your sleep, definitely your nutrition, and also your physicality. Sometimes we have a lot of information, but we don't necessarily need information. We just need practicality, and we need to actually do something about it. And the hardest part is, guys, is actually getting comfortable being uncomfortable. A lot of the time, if we overthink it, it just ruins us. But what we actually need to do is go with our heart, take a little bit of a courageous step forwards and go, all right, I'm going to do it. And you'll find that you can actually do more than you think you can, in the sense of actually taking the step forwards that you need to improve your health and life. Any final words?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, we've had heaps of comments. I haven't even checked the other page. Guys,
I like this group of people because I feel like reading the comments, it's like you're pretty realistic, it seems like.
Yes.
With goals and expectations, and maybe it just is through the chronic fatigue syndrome, but it's not.
No, it's just my kind of people.
Well, they just understand.
They're my people.
Where a lot of people I work with are like used to going to just a medical doctor and getting a pill, so they're like, yeah.
No.
It's just understanding the process is kind of cool.
I think the guys who follow my page, they know that I'm a no bullshit kind of guy.
Yeah. 100% recovery in 4 days.
Yeah. It's just about improving your life. It's not about getting to an end result. It's about improving 5 or 10% here and there, and eventually changing your life. Now, guys, I want you to do me a massive favour and Heather a massive favour, because the more information, the more solid, basic, helpful information that gets out there that can help someone else is really important, just like it's helped you guys. Terry's just written in, this was great, thank you so much. Lee Johnson Riley, thank you so much for your tips. Everyone's writing in. So yeah, Leah, if you're interested, or Lee Johnson, if you're interested in getting a coaching session with Heather, please feel free to send a PM. And anyone who's interested in the online recovery program, we have about 140 spots left for this entire year. So we've kind of capped it this year. Karen Wilson, you're in the program. So if you guys are in the program, comment below how much it's helped you, what you've gotten out of it, just so other people can see and experience exactly what you've gotten out of it. So feel free to share your experience. But you can also send me a PM. We can organise a time to chat and have an assessment. And just to figure out where you're at exactly, and that might mean having a session with Heather first, or it might mean starting the Platinum program first, and getting help on a holistic level. Thanks again for listening. You guys are awesome. It's so good.
If you want a bone broth recipe, groundedapproach.com.
Yeah,
There's one on there.
you can head to Heather's website as well, groundedapproach.com, and there's a bone broth recipe, or throughout the Skype sessions you'll be able to get that. One thing I do suggest is if you could tag one friend
that'd be
in
nice.
this video, I would muchly appreciate that. Tag someone who actually needs help with their nutrition or diet, or they're constantly telling you or complaining to you about their bloating or their energy levels or their mood. And just say, hey, Catherine Swayze, this might be really helpful for you. Check it out. You don't have to be pushy. You don't want to be one of those pushy friends who
Send it to them every day in email over and over until they read it.
Oh my god, I had a mum yesterday who emailed me, and I said to her, just leave your child alone.
Yeah.
Like, stop. It's hard. Obviously I said it in a much nicer way, but yeah, tag your friend below. Just say, hey, check this out. This might be helpful. We really want to keep doing these kind of interviews
it's fun.
with Heather and a few other people, just on talking on different health topics that can be useful for all of us. You know?
I'm preaching to myself here sometimes.
100%.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go home and drink some bone broth.
Well, I had 2 today. Are you proud of me?
Yeah.
And I got my neighbour to have some today as well.
Who?
Joe. She was
Joe's
really
so
sick.
cool.
She woke up. She's like, "Oh, I've got a headache." I'm like, "Come into Toby's house. I'll give you some bone broth."
Joe helped me park my car when I first learned to drive manual. I was stuck on a hill and she came out running.
Yeah,
Sweet.
we've got some good people up here. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.